Welcome to Exam Sale. In this script we will walk through the official syllabus for the professional VMware vSphere 7X exam so you know what to study and where to focus. This exam is divided into 7 domains with exact weights that add to 100%. Installing, configuring, and setup is 25%. Administrative and operational tasks is 20%. Performance tuning, optimization, and upgrades is 15%. VMware products and solutions is 15%. Architecture and technologies is 10%. Troubleshooting and repairing is 10%. Planning and designing is 5%. Installing, configuring, and setup carries 25% of the exam and focuses on infrastructure deployment and initial configuration of vSphere components. Difficulty is medium with an estimated 12 hours of study and assessments that are hands-on plus conceptual. You will learn to deploy the vCenter server appliance, perform XC host installations, configure vCenter identity sources, manage inventory objects, and set up vCenter server high availability. You will also configure vSphere networking including standard and distributed switches, vkernel ports, VLANs, NIC teaming, and load balancing, and set up storage such as VMFS and NFS data stores, ISCSI and fiber channel, storage multipathing, storage policies and initial VSAN settings. Administrative and operational tasks accounts for 20% and emphasizes day-to-day management of virtual machines and cluster resources. Difficulty is medium with about 10 hours recommended and scenario-based assessments. Expect to practice creating and modifying virtual machines, managing templates, clones and content libraries, configuring snapshots, and performing vMotion and storage vMotion as well as cold and hot migrations. On the cluster side you will configure vSphere HA, DRS and predictive DRS, admission control policies, resource pools, proactive HA, and VM to host affinity and anti-affinity rules. Performance tuning, optimization, and upgrades is 15% and covers lifecycle management and infrastructure efficiency. This domain is hard, with roughly 10 hours of study and a mix of conceptual and scenario-based assessment. You will learn vSphere Lifecycle Manager concepts, create and manage VLCM images, perform XC host upgrades and patching, upgrade VMware tools and virtual hardware, and manage vCenter server updates with baselines and groups. You will also monitor and optimize resources using XStop and vCenter charts, tune CPU and memory shares and limits, configure network I/O control and storage I/O control, and identify and resolve resource contention. VMware products and solutions is 15% and focuses on ecosystem integration and advanced vSphere features. This domain is easy with about 6 hours of study and both conceptual and scenario-based assessments. You will learn vSphere with Tanzu basics including the supervisor cluster, vSphere pods, Tanzu Kubernetes grid, namespaces, and how storage and networking work for Kubernetes. You will also cover advanced storage topics such as VSAN requirements and capabilities, virtual volumes architecture, differences between file, block and object storage, storage policy-based management, and site recovery manager use cases. Architecture and technologies makes up 10% and covers core vSphere architecture principles and concepts. Difficulty is easy with an estimated 6 hours of study and conceptual plus scenario-based assessment. You will identify vCenter server service components and explain XC hypervisor architecture and type. You will also learn about vSphere Trust Authority, differences between vSphere editions and features, and virtual machine hardware capabilities that impact design and operations. Troubleshooting and repairing is 10% and focuses on problem identification and resolution techniques. This domain is hard and recommends about 12 hours of study with scenario-based assessments. You will analyze vSphere log files such as vkernel.log and host.log, troubleshoot vCenter server connectivity and XC host connection issues, and resolve storage pathing and latency problems. You will also diagnose virtual machine power on failures and identify network misconfigurations related to distributed switches. Planning and designing represents 5% and covers design methodologies and requirement gathering for vSphere infrastructure. Difficulty is medium with roughly 4 hours of recommended study and conceptual plus scenario-based assessment. You will assess hardware compatibility for XC, determine appropriate vCenter server deployment models, plan storage capacity and performance, design scalable vSphere networking, and calculate cluster resource requirements to meet workload needs. Focus your study time according to the domain weights and practice with hands-on labs for the heavier areas like installation and administration. Use the estimated learning hours as a guide. Practice scenario-based tasks, and revisit architecture and troubleshooting to solidify your understanding before the exam.